Blu Chapter 1. The alarms blaring seemed to ripple through every bone in Blu's body as she struggled to swim back to consciousness. What the hell had happened? She had just been checking in on the bean sprouts in the botany bay, and next thing she knew, she was on a heap on the ground, a heavy metallic weight pinning her to the floor. She groaned and attempted to shift, but was quickly stopped by waves of pain washing over her. This was bad. Really bad. Then, an even more chilling realization set in. She was on the PlantCorp space station. An explosion meant... Her spiraling thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shifting and groaning of the metal weighing her body down. She couldn't help the slight scream that escaped her lips as she felt her chest compress further. "Hey!" she heard a faint call from outside the rubble. "Anyone in here?" The voice boomed and echoed through the chaos. Blu tried but failed to call out in response. That was it. She was going to die there. Luckily for her, she had no more time to muse on her impending doom, as her crewmate was already clawing through the wreckage close to her. She sucked in as deep breath as she could manage, and with all the force she could muster, she shoved the crumpled metal off her chest, giving her just a few extra inches to breathe. She cried out hoarsely for help, her eyes locking with her crewmates through the debris. Arietta. It was Arietta. Blu let loose some of the tension building in her shoulders. Arietta was there. "Blu! Blu! Are you okay?" Arietta dug through the wreckage furiously. "I'm fine," Blu coughed, pushing her way through the last of the rubble and taking Arietta's hand. The ship's navigator pulled Blu from under the crushing metal and onto what remained of the botany bay. Blu felt her breath hitch as she looked over the carnage of plants strewn about the shambles of a room. "You hurt?" Arietta was scanning the botanist up and down, looking for any sign of injury. "Arietta, I'm fine," Blu huffed, pulling away from the navigator's cautious gaze. "Please stop hovering," she grumbled as she leaned down to cradle a disheveled beansprout. What the hell happened here? "Listen, we've got to go. I'm sorry about..." Arietta motioned to the general disarray of the room. "Well, I'm sorry about the plants, but I need to make sure you and the others are safe." "Right," Blu shook her head, dropping the sprout back onto the floor gently and brushing the dirt off her fingers. "Let's go see the damage." Blu had hardly believed when she opened the letter. A genuine PlantCorp seal on the envelope. The largest force in botanical innovations had actually gotten back to her. Admittedly, when she had sent in the application, she might have been just a little bit under the influence of one of her favorite plants. Fuck it, she had thought. If they're looking for a botanist to run a maintenance shift on their newest cutting-edge space station, why couldn't it be her? Well, she could think of more than a few reasons. It's not like she had the accolades that her peers did. She had hardly gone farther than a few small industrial research projects. But still, as she looked around her small studio apartment, covered from head to toe in common and exotic plants alike, ones that she had even selectively bred for tissue culturing herself, a deep confidence rose in her gut. She was just as qualified as every single one of them. Anxiety be damned, she thought as she hit submit. She had just secretly never anticipated actually hearing back from them. But there she was, PlantCorp seal certified. After a sharp inhale, she hurriedly ripped open the envelope until the heavy card stack was in her hands. "Dear Miss Blu Bariste," she read under her breath hurriedly. "We were very impressed with your resume and experience and are excited to invite you to our headquarters in San Francisco for a follow-up interview." She squealed in excitement, flopping down on her hand-me-down couch and kicking her feet in the air. This was it, her big break. Blu held her head in her hand as she stumbled behind Arietta through the halls of the station. Maybe she had hit her head after all. Or maybe it was the strobing of the alarms making her feel nauseous. She followed Arietta through a tight corner, nearly crashing into the navigator's outstretched arm. After taking a second to find her balance again, she stood to protest against Arietta's interference, but her tirade caught in her throat as she looked up. The airlock regulator popped. The botany bay and attached quarters had been completely severed from the rest of the station. Fuck. This can't be happening, Blu stammered, suddenly very thankful for the sturdy presence beside her. "Tell me this isn't happening, Arietta." I would like to tell you that, but yeah, can't really do that." Arietta's words had no bite as she mumbled. "At least the emergency airlock is intact." Yeah, at least they both hadn't been immediately sucked into space, but the real weight of the situation began to sink to the bottom of Blu's stomach. As she watched the main hull of the space station drift further and further out of view, she had only one thought in her head. Fuck. They were stranded, and drifting further and further with every passing second.